What if Naruto went rogue? How would this change impact the story? Well, this video is going to cover all that and more. Luckily for the villagers of Konoha, Naruto took it very easy on them in the original, and realistically could have just turned out like Gaara, but he didn't, all thanks to Iruka. But let's just say that Naruto doesn't get that opportunity, and he ends up having one bad day. And from this would decide, you know what, I'm done with this village, and deserted it. What would change in the Naruto story? Naruto, like any other day, would just be walking around looking at shops when a man would suddenly scream, "Hey demon, get out of here!" But I was just looking at the masks. "Nobody wants you here. You're scaring away the customers." Throwing the mask at Naruto as everybody around would be staring at him. And Naruto would look around after picking it up only to see those eyes. Those damned eyes. They always look at me with those eyes. Why do you all hate me? Huh? None of you ever treat me like a person and I still don't know why. Then a man would scream, "It's because you're a demon," pushing Naruto away as Naruto would end up running home in tears, deciding to abandon the village and to return one day to exact his revenge. This would be the very thing that would keep him alive during the next couple of months, in which he would wander town to town, being treated normally at first, until eventually he would run out of money. But it would be at this point that finally, the looks would start coming, but it'd be interesting because the looks aren't the same. Now it's not hate or fear, but it's pity. Everybody just feels pity for him, for being homeless. And the struggle would be real. Eventually, Naruto begins to lose weight fast, and he has a very hard time surviving on his own, judging as how people aren't very helpful. Eventually, this would lead Naruto to having to resort to theft to survive. But every time he does this, he eventually gets caught and the town would end up pretty much just kicking him out. This would lead Naruto in a cycle of just having to go from town to town. And eventually, Naruto would stumble across the very same town that Haku was founded in the original Naruto story. And Naruto and Haku end up actually developing a sort of weird friendship, seeing as they fall under very similar backstories and each weren't wanted and had to fend for themselves at the ripe young age that they're at. Each having no parents, so they would hit it off right away with even just their backstories and them sharing how sad everything was. And you know what? Everything kind of seems to finally be getting better for each of them until winter comes around and gives them each a very, very severe reality check. Food isn't the problem anymore. Now it's actually just shelter, and they can't find anywhere to keep them warm. They're literally days away from death at the point that Zabuza would storm in and actually end up finding them, just like in canon. This would lead both Naruto and Haku to end up getting trained by Zabuza himself, and each of them would spend 2 years training with a mercenary, leading them each to become very, very powerful, and both of them to drastically develop their skills. Naruto himself, if he was to be trained directly by Zabuza, with this drive to legit end the Hidden Leaf Village, he would become busted. Naruto becomes a Kenjutsu master. Haku goes on to become even stronger than he would be in the original because now he has double the reason to become strong, 2 people to love and protect. And Naruto, with training from Zabuza, would have been able to get past his chakra issues, leading him to become decently versed in wind jutsus and become a taijutsu specialist. A question I'm sure some of you guys are probably asking yourself though is probably, does Naruto find out about the Kyuubi? And the answer to that question is actually going to be yes. Zabuza this time around, I could definitely see him telling him straight up, and that's why the people would fear him. And once Naruto would find this out, Naruto would despise the Hidden Leaf Village even more. Realizing just how shallow those villagers were, Naruto would promise to turn that village hidden in the leaf to the village hidden in the rubble. Unfortunately for him though, things aren't that easy. He can't just flash forward and destroy it, obviously. So we have to cover a couple of missions before this, and I definitely see Naruto eventually going on the mission to assassinate Tazuna, the bridge builder. Which does mean that Naruto gets to fight Hidden Leaf Village ninjas. Team 7 this time around would be comprised of Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi, and Umui, who would simply just be a random inserted character for this team to actually work. And just like in the original, Zabuza vs Kakashi would go down and end with Kakashi in the water prison jutsu. So just like in the original, Team 7 wouldn't just want to leave Kakashi to die. They would decide that they want to step in and devise a plan to free him. Just like in the original, they would create a great diversion, Demon Wind Shuriken, which would almost work if not for Naruto blitzing in and stopping the massive shuriken in its path and sending it flying back, leading Umui to de-transform. And ultimately then, he'd rush in at Sasuke with both eyes glowing with a menacing red aura, and Naruto would say, "It's been a minute, Sasuke," before then punching him and sending this man flying, only to then violate this man, and Naruto would go on to a full-on monologue as he's literally punching and kicking Sasuke, telling him how much he hated being looked down on by Sasuke, and how Sasuke is so privileged. He got to live the life that Naruto wanted all his life, as he would land blow after blow after blow. And after all of this, Naruto would still cut off Sasuke's hair with his blade, embarrassing him, leading Sakura to pass out completely due to the shock of this, and Umui would try to step in the way, but he just can't, because he would then ultimately be stopped by Haku, who would defeat him, and Kakashi would be forced to watch Team 7 die, as Zabuza would taunt him and say that he had a way out, but there's no second chances, as Kakashi would lose consciousness and die. After completing the mission, they would report back to Gato and be informed that they are not going to get paid. Gato would try to scam them, but it wouldn't really work too well for him. After this mission would be completed, the group would be one step closer towards Zabuza's goal. And if you think I'm about to take the time to explain his goal thoroughly, you're out of your mind. So here's a speed ran version of it. In essence, Zabuza was raised in the villain hidden in the rain, and his village's Hokage became mad corrupt. He's trying to raise the funds to be able to enact another coup d'etat in the village, Mizukage, and rule over the village. You got that? Yes, no, maybe? I don't care. Anyways, after having Zabuza explain this to the group, Naruto would ask Zabuza if they can have some time to destroy the village hidden in the leaf. And after this, Zabuza would chuckle and say, "Why wait, kid?" Now, I'm sure you guys are probably confused because this isn't exactly how the timeline works originally, but here's my whole thought process on the original story. Originally, Orochimaru hires ninjas from the Sound Village to do his bidding, so instead, what if he hires Zabuza's group, because it just makes a lot more sense, so we're gonna roll with it. Once they meet with Lord Orochimaru, they're briefed on the mission and told they're gonna take the Chunin exams as undercover ninjas. So each of them use transformation jutsus on themselves during this entire arc, and Orochimaru would explain his goals to destroy the Leaf Village and kill Hiruzen. Once Naruto hears this, he can't help but ask if he can take part in the killing of Hiruzen, explaining that he wants revenge, and Orochimaru smiles, saying, "Sure, I don't see why not." Naruto laughs, and eventually from here, the day of the Chunin exams would come. Everything for the exam writes smoothly. They simply keep a low profile, and they'd eventually find themselves in the Chunin exams preliminary battles. Naruto faces off against a fodder character, Zabuza against Choji, and Haku against the ninja Sasuke fought in canon. After this, they'd be told about the 1-month training period, and Zabuza's group would train like never before, under Orochimaru. And during this time, Naruto and the group would get incredible gains from this. And not only that, but they are even given curse marks each, luckily surviving. After the 1 month would be over, their training would be complete, and the amount of skills and mastery they would gain under Orochimaru would be a payment for their time in and of itself. Orochimaru would take a keen interest in Naruto because of the Nine Tails, and contemplate taking him from Zabuza, but decides against it for now. Eventually, the day of the finals would come around, and after the battles would come into place, Haku would face Gaara, ice versus sand. The match would start, and Haku immediately decides to put into use his speed to give Gaara Lee flashbacks, and actually tag Gaara a couple of times, causing him to use his ultimate shield, to which Haku decides to use a new jutsu he created, called 1,000 Needles. It's a massive amount of needles that he creates out of ice, but the charge up time for this jutsu is 30 seconds, which is perfect because Gaara is hiding, and this gives Haku time to spare. He begins creating the jutsu, and his jutsu's icicles are chakra coated, meaning they can very well pierce the dome, and not only pierce it, but kill Gaara. Normally, since he is a part of the plan, Haku has to hold back and make sure that it only awakens Shukaku. So he shoots the attack and it damages Gaara heavily, causing him to freak out, commencing the attack. Zabuza and Haku would fight against the Leaf Village ninja, holding them off until Hiruzen dies, and Naruto would body flicker alongside Orochimaru into the barrier created by the Sound 4. Once there, Naruto would reveal who he truly is, shocking Hiruzen, asking him what he's doing here with him. And Naruto says, "Isn't it obvious? I'm here to kill you, old man." Hiruzen says that he's sorry to Minato and Kushina in his mind for failing them, but he will bring Naruto back if it's the last thing he does. The battle would begin, and Naruto would watch as Orochimaru goes toe-to-toe with Hiruzen and watches the reanimation jutsu in person, studying Orochimaru's moves, paying close attention to everything that happens, but staying out of the way since the deal was that Naruto would only step in at the end or if he needs backup. But Naruto plans to actually take a different path, because what Orochimaru doesn't know is that Naruto overheard a very interesting convo. He heard Orochimaru and Kabuto talking about him and how he will take Naruto's body after the attack on the village, and even kill Zabuza and Haku afterwards. So Naruto isn't planning on letting any of this happen. He wants to take both birds out with one stone. Eventually though, the battle would progress to the point where Hiruzen and Orochimaru end up in a tug of war of souls. This would be when Orochimaru screams out to Naruto, "What are you doing, boy? Come help." But Naruto stares at him and says, "No, I don't think I will," stabbing his blade into Orochimaru as he weakens him, making it a lot easier for Hiruzen to take his soul using the Death Reaper jutsu. And after Orochimaru dies, he would turn to Hiruzen, who would thank Naruto. But Naruto says, "Don't thank me, old man. Fear me," as his eyes change colors, and he would let his aura loose as he blitzes Hiruzen and rips out his heart with his claws, as he laughs and says, "It was too easy." From here, the Sound 4 let down the barrier and rush Naruto, trying to kill him, but he smiles and body flickers out of there to Zabuza and Haku, and they leave the village as Naruto tells Zabuza about what happened and what he heard. Zabuza laughs and says that he's trained Naruto well, as Naruto says more training awaits, as from here, for 3 years straight, Naruto, Zabuza, and Haku train daily, and eventually end up reverse summoning themselves to Ryuchi Cave in an attempt to learn Snake Sage Mode. They would master it after 5 months each, and after this, go on to train in their usual style by risking their lives daily. Naruto during this time has been working on controlling Kurama's chakra, but it hasn't been easy so far. He can only control 4 tails of its power without losing control. Haku has become a master with his Ice Kiki Genkai, and Zabuza has gotten a Kage level easily. So has Haku, and Naruto is a fair amount above even that. He's the strongest, and Haku is the second strongest. Zabuza has even implanted Kakashi's Sharingan into his eye after the time skip, since he did take it from Kakashi when he killed him. So after all these years, they're finally ready to take back the village hidden in the mist. They launch a full-scale attack, hiring extra ninjas to work for them to give them a fair fighting chance against the village itself. And because of the amount of planning that went into this, the attack would go unnoticed until it was too late. And by the time the village realized, the Mizukage may already die to the hands of Zabuza, who is on equal level with Taka Sasuke, who easily dealt with Mei in canon. So with this attack happening as smoothly as it did, any ninjas who disagreed with Zabuza's methods were disposed of, and he was made the new Mizukage. After this, the village would fall under Zabuza's rule, and wouldn't you know it, Zabuza would actually make for a great Kage. I mean, if Kakashi could do it, why not Zabuza? This, however, only leaves one loose end. What happens to the Akatsuki, and even the Leaf Village? So, let me speedrun this.
Because Naruto killed Sasuke, he never ended up going with Orochimaru. But because Sasuke died, once word got to Itachi, he spread the info he knew, and the other villages took the opportunity to destroy the village themselves, after being enraged by the news and realizing the village was already weak and had no Jinchuriki. Because of this, many Leaf Village ninjas died, and even villagers. It basically got wiped out like the Uzumaki clan, over the course of a year.
So yeah, things did not end well for Konoha. The village hidden in the mist, however, prospers, but unfortunately Naruto's possession of the Nine Tails means Pain still attacks, and because he isn't informed on many things concerning Pain, the battle would be a lot harder than in canon, but the scale would be tipped in Naruto's favor because of Zabuza and Haku, who heavily assist Naruto. Fortunately, they're able to defeat Pain, but this time there is no Talk no Jutsu. Naruto just straight up kills Nagato and even takes the Rinnegan for himself. And yes, he can handle its powers because of his insane chakra reserves. A short while after this, Obito would send Deidara and Sasori to capture B, who would defeat them. But because of this, the 4 Kage Summit would be called and infiltrated by Tobi, and the 4th Great Shinobi War would start just like in canon. Kabuto still reanimates Madara and the rest of the shinobi, so the war would almost remain the same, and Zabuza would send Naruto to train with Killer Bee in hopes of mastering his tailed beast. Just like in canon, Naruto would succeed with much more ease, and eventually after mastering KCM1, he would rush the battlefield, alongside B, and they would be big key players in the war. Itachi ends up betraying Obito and undoes the reanimation jutsu just like in canon, and after this assists in the final battle against Obito, and the only difference would be Naruto, Zabuza, Haku, and B versus Obito. It would be a high difficulty battle, but once Itachi arrives to the battlefield, he'd give tips on fighting Obito, and Zabuza, using his Sharingan, would fight Obito, who gets sick of Zabuza and actually kills him, leading Naruto to rage out and rush Obito, but Madara would arrive to the battlefield and face off against Itachi and destroy him. And they would tag team Naruto, killing him, but he'd be brought back by the Sage of Six Paths. And with both Sun and Moon Seals, Naruto's able to kill Madara and defeat Obito, preventing the worst villain of all time to be introduced. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Like the video.